Jolo stole billions and thought he could get away with it, but his exact location has just been revealed, and the fake passport he's using to travel the world. The craziest part, he's not even trying to hide. He's living in luxury under state protection from one of the world's most brutal regimes, and he's working for America's biggest enemy. Most fugitives lay low, not Jho Low. He rented a mansion, started a new business, and began advising governments on financial warfare. His wife joined the most exclusive yacht club in Hong Kong. His kids attend the best international schools. Life goes on for the Lows. All while no government or law enforcement agency seems to care. But two journalists refuse to give up the hunt. What they discovered will blow your mind. The ridiculous fake name on his Australian passport, how his family lives in luxury while he's supposedly missing, the true scale of his fraud, $18 billion stolen from an entire nation, which superpower granted him sanctuary and why they need him, and the exclusive neighborhood where he's hiding in plain sight. But first, meet the two men who won't let the world's biggest thief disappear.
So Tom and I, we started chasing this story at the Wall Street Journal. We had a couple of moments, interesting moments, where we got kind of close to catching Jolo.
While governments gave up and moved on, two men refused to let the world's biggest thief disappear into luxury. Tom Wright and Bradley Hope, the Wall Street Journal reporters who first exposed the 1MDB scandal. And when the headlines faded and politicians found new scandals to chase, they kept digging.
This scam and Jolo, they really are of an era now. This is 15 years ago, right?
One day, Wright and Hope have a reporter start cold calling Shanghai hotels. At the peninsula, someone bites. Yes, Mr. Low is a long-term guest. Want to leave a message. Hope jumps on the first available flight. He checks into the same hotel where Low is staying. At the concierge, he asks for Jho Low. He's in the residences, they say. But when Hope goes to the residences, security claims they've never heard of him. Back at the front desk, he pushes again. The concierge opens her computer. The screen flashes red. She looks up. He was never here. Then Thailand. Tom Wright knocks on the door of a $100 million yacht. We're looking for Jho Low. The crew claims they've never heard the name, but the yacht, registered to one of his shell companies. Hong Kong, right after Najib's arrest, they followed tips to luxury apartments. No success. Always one step behind, but getting closer. And while they chased shadows across Asia, it looked like everyone else quit the hunt. Malaysia's new government, too busy with COVID and coalition politics to prioritize extradition. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's administration basically shrugged. The FBI's kleptocracy unit, the team that recovered billions from Jho Low's network, disbanded, agents reassigned, America moved on to more aligned cases. Even Malaysian officials who once promised justice started making excuses. Ari Jamaluddin, former minister, admits he regrets not pushing harder when he had the chance, but he moved on too. Not Wright and Hope. They did something unprecedented when it comes to investigative journalism. They created a cryptocurrency, the Jho Low meme coin, to crowdsource intelligence. Pay people in crypto for verified tips about his location. The results shocked even them. Photos started flooding in. Jho Low at a Macau aquarium, flanked by minders. At Shanghai Disneyland with his family, trying to blend in like any other tourist. Except tourists don't travel with security details. And then they got something even bigger. His fake Australian passport. Name: Konstantinos Vase. The document he uses to check into hotels, open accounts, and move around the world freely while everyone thinks he's gone forever. They built an app called Silent Partner that maps the entire 1MDB network, every shell company, every transaction, every connection. They interviewed FBI agents Bill McMurray and Robert Heitling, who spent years chasing money through dozens of countries. They went full detective mode, all to answer one question everyone else stopped asking: where is Jho Low right now? And the answer reveals how broken the system really is.
I use the term, can we throw Jho Low under the bus, and can we ask him to take responsibility for the monies that purportedly has been siphoned off and stolen?
It wasn't just one man stealing money. It was an entire system being manipulated by someone who shouldn't have had any power at all. Najib Razak was Malaysia's prime minister, but in 2015 cabinet meetings, he was taking investment advice from a 30-something with no official title. Jho Low would brief the cabinet on opportunities. Najib defended him as a legitimate businessman. By 2016, something changed. When cabinet members started asking questions about 1MDB's finances, Najib shut down all discussions. No more questions, no more briefings. Iri Jamaluddin, then a cabinet minister, was in those rooms. He watched Najib's second finance minister literally read from scripts that Jho Low had written. Iri tried to push back. Private meetings with Najib, blame Jho for everything, distance yourself now. But Najib couldn't. He was in too deep. And here's what's really been stolen. From 1MDB alone, $12 billion in total damage, $7.65 billion stolen outright. Jho Low personally controlled $2.5 billion of that. The FBI has recovered maybe $1.5 billion. The rest, gone. But that's not even the full picture. Between 2016 and 2017, Jho Low helped orchestrate an additional $6 billion in inflated Chinese Belt and Road contracts. The money split between Chinese companies and Jho Low's network. Total impact on Malaysia, $18 billion, nearly a quarter of the company's annual GDP at the time. The real victims, not the politicians, not the businessmen, the Malaysian people. Schools that were never built, roads that were never paved, hospitals that never got the equipment they needed. And here's the hard, cold fact. Justice is incomplete without Jho Low in handcuffs. Najib is in prison, but everyone knows he was the puppet, not the puppet master. Without Jho Low's testimony, Malaysia will never know the full truth about who else was involved, how deep the corruption went, or where the rest of the money is hidden. Iri puts it bluntly, the public needs to follow up on this. It's dropped off the radar, but Jho Low is still out there, still free, still spending Malaysian money. The Malaysian witnesses who testified against him, they're the real heroes here. They risked their careers, their safety, their families to expose this network. They believed in democracy, in justice, in the idea that no one is above the law. They deserve better than watching Jho Low live in luxury while their country is still paying the price. And the story gets even darker, because Jho Low didn't just steal from Malaysia and disappear. He found a new patron, a new government to serve, a new scam to run.
But we actually have some of Jho Low's Google history from that time when he first showed up in China. And he was literally going through searching all of the political figures and trying to understand who's who here. Who can I connect myself with?
When Jho Low fled to China in 2015, he wasn't running to hide. He was running to rebuild his empire. According to sources who've seen his actual Google search history from that time, he spent hours researching Chinese political figures, names, positions, connections. Within months, he'd corrupted some of the highest-ranking officials in China. Sun Lijun, head of domestic security, one of the most powerful law enforcement positions in the country, a trade minister who controlled billions in infrastructure deals. How do you corrupt officials at that level? Simple. You make them rich. Jho Low offered them something irresistible, a way to steal massive amounts of money from Malaysia's infrastructure projects while making it look like legitimate business. China would build railways, ports, and power plants in Malaysia. But instead of charging fair market prices, they'd inflate the contracts by billions. The extra money would be split between Chinese officials, Jho Low's network, and Malaysian politicians. He helped China steal an additional $6 billion from Malaysia through padded infrastructure contracts, money that was meant to be Malaysia's partnership with America. But here's where it gets even more twisted. Jho Low wasn't just stealing money. He was shifting Malaysia's entire foreign policy, acting as a shadow broker to pull Malaysia away from the United States and toward China. Every corrupted deal made Malaysia more dependent on Chinese investment, more aligned with Chinese interests. Fast forward to today, those officials Jho Low corrupted. Sun Lee-jun was arrested for corruption in 2020. The trade minister also arrested, their entire network dismantled. But not Jho Low again. Now he works as an advisor to the Chinese government on special situations. Sources confirm he's currently advising Chinese companies on how to evade US sanctions, essentially teaching America's enemies how to break American law. Jho Low has become China's go-to consultant for financial warfare. The proof? His longtime lawyer, Robin Rath, recently filed documents with the US government, revealing he's now working for a Chinese company that's under American sanctions. Think about what he knows. Every loophole in US banking regulations, every weakness in American law enforcement, every way to move money without triggering US investigations. And he's sharing all of it with China. Jho Low's network is helping sanctioned Chinese companies operate in the shadows of the global financial system. And he's not under house arrest. He's not locked away in some compound. Intelligence sources confirm he moves freely through Shanghai with government minders, driving luxury cars like a visiting dignitary rather than an international fugitive. He has an office in the Shanghai World Financial Center, one of the tallest buildings in China. When he needs cash, he doesn't wire transfer like normal people. He flies helicopters loaded with money from Macau to Hong Kong, then distributes it globally to pay legal bills and fund operations. This is the infrastructure of a state-sponsored money laundering operation. China has officially denied Jho Low is in the country, but Malaysia's current Prime Minister, Anwar Ibrahim, recently admitted that some quarters are blocking his extradition. He didn't name China directly. He didn't have to. America's own Justice Department spent years trying to catch him. While the FBI disbanded their kleptocracy unit, Jho Low is building China's financial warfare capabilities against the United States. Now he's using everything he learned about the US financial system to help China's sanctioned companies evade American law. Jho Low controls billions in stolen money. He has intelligence on Malaysian politics, American business practices, and global financial networks. He's proven he can corrupt officials, influence policy, and move money invisibly across borders. In China's eyes, he's not a criminal, he's an asset. Bob Dylan once wrote, "Steal a little and they throw you in jail. Steal a lot and they make you king." Jho Low stole enough to become untouchable, and in the shadows of Shanghai's financial district, he's building something even more dangerous than what he had before. A network that doesn't just steal from one country, a system that weaponizes corruption across continents. But they finally tracked him down.
Green Hills, Shanghai. This is a super luxurious neighborhood known for its expat residents. Everybody who lives in this area lives in a house that's separate from everywhere else.
And here's where they found him. The location where one of the world's most wanted financial criminals is hiding in plain sight. Thanks to Tom Wright and Bradley Hope's investigation, we now know that Jho Low lives in Green Hills, also known as Greenland Villas, one of Shanghai's exclusive expat neighborhoods. And when we say exclusive, we mean it. Monthly rent, $10,000 USD. Massive American-style mansions with wooden construction, sprawling porticos, and manicured lawns that look like they were ripped straight out of Greenwich, Connecticut. a gated community surrounded by lakes and trees, giving it an almost rural feel. But drive 15 minutes in any direction and you're in the heart of Shanghai's financial district. It's the perfect location for someone who needs privacy, but also quick access to the Shanghai World Financial Center, where Jho Low maintains his office. The confirmation process was like solving a digital puzzle. Sources connected to their Jolo cryptocurrency bounty provided structured details about his residence. They cross-verified everything using AI-powered Chinese language searches and protected investigative methods they can't fully disclose without burning their sources. Here's what we can tell you. Jho Low isn't living like a fugitive, he's living like a king. Every morning, he leaves his mansion in luxury cars. Sources confirm Bugattis are still his preference. His wife, his high school girlfriend from Penang, travels with their children to Europe for ski vacations and shopping trips. She's a member of the Royal Hong Kong Yacht Club, which automatically gives Jho Low access without using his real name. When the family needs services, like their London concierge, they don't pay directly. Instead, a Thai businessman named Fing Fee and Lumed handles the payments, creating layers of separation between Jho Low and any paper trail. He uses his fake identity constantly. Konstantinos Vase checks in where Jho Low can't. Most white-collar criminals who flee justice try to disappear. They move to remote islands, change their appearance, live quietly. Now, he's transformed into something far more dangerous, a professional villain with state protection, unlimited resources, and a network that spans continents. The transformation is complete. From amateur scammer to geopolitical puppet master. From cuddly rich kid to one of the most sophisticated financial criminals in history. While you're watching this video, Jho Low is probably sitting in his Shanghai mansion, planning his next move, protected by one of the world's most powerful governments, untouchable by international law. The hunt continues, but for now, Wright and Hope have found exactly where he is. Green Hills, Shanghai, hidden in plain sight.
If the end of this story is that Jolo continues to live the life that you Bradley have just painted in China, that is such a terrible miscarriage of justice.
The honest answer, Jho Low believes he won't. Sources close to him say he's confident he'll emerge from this scandal completely unscathed. And why shouldn't he be? China protects him because he's useful, a billionaire front for sensitive money movements, a consultant for financial warfare. Even after his high-level patrons were arrested, new ones stepped in. Malaysia, they're a minor power compared to China. Back-channel diplomatic pushes have failed repeatedly. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim can hint that some quarters block extradition, but he can't force China's hand. Even the FBI agents who built the case admit frustration. Billions in assets remain unrecovered. Key individuals stay unnamed for political reasons. They watch as Najib's party regains influence in Malaysia. The cycle repeats. But here's what's different now. Wright and Hope's Jho Low cryptocurrency project proved something powerful. Crowdsourced justice works. When governments fail, people don't have to accept it. Digital bounties, blockchain transparency, global pressure. These journalists are closing in. Iri Jamaluddin said it best. The public needs to follow up on this. Justice is incomplete without Jho Low in handcuffs. Malaysia deserves answers. The world deserves accountability. The FBI's investigation already returned $1.5 billion to Malaysia and held Goldman Sachs accountable. Transparency beats opacity when enough people demand it. Jho Low stole enough to rewrite his fate. But with Wright and Hope watching, even Shanghai's shadows might not hide him forever. Will justice catch up? That depends on whether the world supports journalists like Wright and Hope who refuse to let him disappear again. Check out the Jho Low project. Every tip, every piece of evidence, every bit of pressure brings us closer to justice.